First live ever in YouTube. Emmanuel, your Instagram is blocked. Sorry to hear that, man. We've all been there or going there since we started supporting Israel, unfortunately. Am I part of Discord? I actually have a Discord user. I barely ever use it, but I can get active there. I used to be active when I was in university. Oh yeah, I heard there is a lot of cool Discord groups out there. So let's maybe just wait a little bit for more people to come, because some people sent me, hello to you, sir. Hello back to you, sir, Emmanuel. Some people sent me pretty good questions. This is, by the way, my first YouTube live. My first live social media video was Instagram a few days ago, when we had people go in Be'eri, and they asked me if I can come and help show it to my friends on social media, so they held the camera for me. So I'm still getting used to this, but let me just bring my computer so I can look at the questions that some people sent me. And BT, you asked about Discord. Send me a message on Instagram or YouTube or any platform that fits you, and I'll try to send you my Discord. Or maybe I should open an account on Discord. So yeah, well, I'm quite glad I have 4 people here. This is my first YouTube reel. I didn't expect to have anyone even. So I'm glad to have at least 4 people, and I would be more than happy to dedicate this time to you guys. If you have any questions or anything you would like to share, I will do my best to answer. Where's the pictures? I'll give you an example. Here are some of the questions that people ask me. Do you ever feel like you should be supporting the Islamists? In your childhood, were you taught to hate, dislike, not trust Jews? Do you think going to Rafah is a mistake? Will this rescue the hostages? What are something that you wish people knew about your ethnic identity and how relates to being an Israeli? This was by Tal, traveling class. And love you, love your food. It's not really my food, it's my mom's food. But yeah, let's jump into these questions. And like I said, to anyone who's here, I highly appreciate, guys. Thank you so much for coming. This is, what do you know about the history? I have a question about the history between the Druze and the Jewish people. Well, I actually know a lot about history. I mean, compared to the average person. I studied at a university. I graduated with a degree in the history of religions in the Middle East. So it's Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And psychology. I wanted to know how many psychos live in the Middle East. No, welcome back, Shine of Zion. So, to speak about history, I would say that it was always something that fascinated me. Here is a little bit, here's 1 minute history lesson about the Druze and the Jews. You see, the Druze were living in the land of Israel, my family at least, from my mother's side, for the last 1,000 years. It's a religion that existed for 1,000 years. But in these 1,000 years, they were declared as kuffar by the Islam. So the Islam have decided, as per the Quran, that they need to kill all the Druze. And why is that? Because the Druze came out of the Islam. And in the beginning, they saw them as just one of the sects that were part of the Islam. They came out of the Shia. The Shia were very spiritual. A lot of people came out of the Shia. The Sunni were very orthodox. They kind of stayed until today. Very, very true to how they were. The Shia were more into spirituality and stuff. So when the Druze came out, they came and they told them, yeah, we believe in reincarnation. So people, when they die, they come back again, etc. And the Muslims asked them, so can a prophet reincarnate? And they said, yeah, absolutely. And that's when they were declared, as kuffar and should be killed by Islam, because they're saying that there could be another prophet after Muhammad. And as you might know, in the Islam, this verse is repeated many times, that Muhammad is the seal of the prophets, the last prophets, even written in Aqsa on the wall, inside, over the Temple Mount, that there's no God except from God, and Muhammad Rasulullah, and that he's the seal of God. So the Druze were fighting to survive, and the Druze went and lived in the mountains in Amir. Ahlan. You just joined a lesson about the history of Druz and Jews. So the Druze, to make it short, the Druze went and lived in the mountains in the area of Lebanon, Syria, northern Israel, hiding from the Islam because Islam was trying to basically annihilate them, committed genocide against them. When the Jews came back to Israel, there was a little bit tension between the Druze and the Jews. Naturally, they were here for a long time surviving, and this third party, hey, who are you? And there were even a few clashes, but very fast. You also know Amir, one of my best friends, guys. I love this guy. So what happened is they started clashing a little bit, and then they realized, okay, we're actually not enemies. We're both here trying to live respectfully. The Muslims are trying to kill us both. So the Jews came and told the Jews, we are here just, to be in our land. If you respect us, we respect you. The Jews said the same thing. We are here to be back in our land. If you respect us. So they became very good friends naturally, which is very interesting because the Druze are Arabs. And anyone who's saying that the Jews are racist toward Arabs, the Druze is the best example to show that this is a lie. The Jews are looking to live peacefully with anyone that want to live peacefully with them. And if it could be a Muslim, could be a Christian, could be a Jew, doesn't matter. The only thing is that the Palestinians don't want to live peacefully, sad to say. Some of them maybe, but the majority don't. So that's a little bit short history about the Druze and the Jews. That alliance started back then, and until today, it's the two ethnical groups in Israel that have all the rights and all the responsibilities. Meaning that every responsibility that is by the law on the Jews, same thing on the Druze. We have to serve in the army. We have to pay the taxes, etc. While other ethnic groups in Israel don't have all the obligations, but they have all the rights. So the Arab Christians, Arab Muslims, and etc. They don't have to serve in the army if they don't want to. So that was just a short one. Is it more complicated because the Sunnah and Shia, who is the second Khalif? Well, that's a whole different topic. Years of the alliance, like 1,500. Well, the Druze existed for about 1,000 years. Islam existed for about 1,400 or 600 years. I need to refresh my memory, but the Druze came a little bit later. So let me see if there was any more questions here. Question about the history of the Jews. All right. Let me ask some of the questions here. Someone asked me if in my childhood I was taught to hate, dislike, not trust Jews. The answer is no. And the reason for that, because they don't teach that to the Druze. The Druze religion actually teach you to love everyone and to accept and be tolerant. They actually believe that all religions are just different angles of looking at the same story of God. It's not like in Palestine where they're teaching children, from the age of 2 or 3 to want to kill Jews and become shaheeds. Why do you think the West is ignoring the Druze when they claim? I think there's 2 reasons for that. I think the number one reason is no one barely knows about the Druze. The Druze are barely crossing the 1 million threshold in the world. It's a very small religion. And just like the Jews, and that's, answering the last question, the Druze and the Jews don't have any desire to conquer the world. Where is Rafi? Rafi is with his grandparents. That's why I'm free in the house and I can do this live video. So the Druze they're not missionaries. They don't want to convert the world. The Jews, the same thing. So it was very easy to kind of live along each other. What do you think the West? So the West is ignored because they don't know them, but also haters will hate. And I think the people who hate and are calling Israel an apartheid, even if you show them in their face what Hamas is doing, and what kind of an apartheid you have in Palestine or Muslim countries, and then show them how liberal and tolerant and beautiful is Israel, and have live witnesses come and tell them in their face, they will still not believe you. And, they've been so brainwashed, many of them, to the point that, even if you confront them with the reality, they will ignore it. And that's what you see in the colleges in the US. It's quite sad. Do you think going to Rafah is a mistake? Will this rescue the hostages? That's a good question. I think going to Rafah is not a mistake, and I think it's inevitable. And I think if Israel does not finish the job of destroying Hamas, then things just got worse than how they were before. Because now you leave Gaza. You see, Hamas benefits from Gaza being destroyed. Hamas benefits from the Gazan people being poor, educated, and hungry. Because that's how they can claim to be the saviors, and that's how they can also teach them hate and eradicate them and make them, future suicide bombers and etc., etc. That's what they've been doing all along. Every time that things get a little bit kind of okay in Gaza, they shoot a rocket into Israel. Israel retaliate, and then they come and say, see, we told you Israel is the bad guy. So Hamas is trying to maintain. So by actually leaving Gaza now without crushing Hamas, you're just creating a worst in the future, and you're not going to get the hostages back. I'm an Arab. I came from the Arab world, and I think the West doesn't understand that the way Arabs understand power is different than the way Europeans or Americans understand power. And if we don't crush Hamas, we're inviting, from Tal's community, hey, thank you so much, Tal, for helping people come take a shower. All right, well, I'll do that after this video. Thanks for the recommendation. So if Israel doesn't crush Hamas, it's just going to be another harness for terrorism, and these hostages are not going to come back. What we see as strength in the West is not what, in the Arab world. The Arab world understand power, and they understand, it's sad to say, but humiliation. Meaning, if you don't humiliate your enemy, he's going to keep coming at you. So Stephen Wolfowitz is a harasser. That's not nice, man. Get a life, dude. So, let's see. So my answer is, I hope that they don't back off from Rafah, and I hope that they go in and finish the job. And it's going to be better for Israel, better for the hostages, and better for the Gazans. Even it's hard to understand it for some people around the world. But if you look at anyone who came from there, if you look at the, Hassan Mas'ab, the son of Hamas, he tells you the same thing. You need to crush Hamas completely and, humiliate that ideology for Gaza to have a future. All right. Hey, I see there's a community. So this is like, I said in the beginning, this is my first YouTube live. Okay, good job, Stephen. Very interesting, very educating. So this is my first YouTube live, and just like anything, I'm expecting to suck at it in the beginning. As I learn how this thing works, I'm kind of reading the comments here and trying to answer. Another question. Where's the family? Family is Rafi's at his grandparents, so that gives me a little bit time. I can throw him out. Thanks, Amir. Let's see, how do I throw this? Remove. No, I didn't throw him out. I just removed. I can hide user. Okay. Here you go. Now he can listen and get educated, and he cannot annoy any of us. That's cool. That's a good idea. Thanks, Amir. Yeah, I hit him, so now he can just actually listen to us say the truth, and he might actually find something that will open his eyes to realize that he's on the wrong side of history. And take a moment to clap for the first person being yeah, that's annoying. The first person that I ever threw out of here. Good. Thanks, Amir. He might still be here, so Steven, you know, whatever your name is, we don't hate you, man. We just like to have civilized, you know, discussion without someone throwing nonsense. Yeah. So, do you ever feel like you should be supporting the Islamists? Let's unpack this question. In short, no. In short, I think Islam is a very problematic religion. I have great Muslim friends. I have amazing Muslim people that I know that are better than many other non-Muslim people that I know, but that's irrelevant to the grand scheme of things. I think Islam needs to do its own house checkup and see how can it adapt itself to become fitting with Western civilization, with, you know, Christian and Jewish values, which are very different than Muslim values right now. And until they don't do this house check, I see no reason, you know, of supporting Islamists. I will stand by any human that is standing against racism, that is standing against harassment. But right now, Islam is becoming a problematic religion. It was for ages already. And although you have Muslim countries that are making big steps toward peace, towards change, like Saudi Arabia, slightly Jordan, and other, maybe Egypt a little bit, they're still way, way far. Thank you, Wolfis was a clat. Ah, really? So I got a collateral. Nice, cool, I'm honored. So, like I said, they need to go through their own renaissance. And maybe that's people who don't understand. You know, there was a story during the Muslim Empire. Like I said in the beginning, I studied the history of Islam as well, where the Muslims messed with the Mongolians. They pissed them off. And then Genghis Khan and his guys came and did what is called the Holocaust for the Islamic world. They came and killed everyone almost, burned all their books, plucked the eyes of the Khalifa, destroyed the kingdom, but then they converted into Islam themselves, which, you know, is why until here. But people call this as the Holocaust of Islam. And people said that this have sent Islam a few thousand years back. And that's why today they're saying as an excuse, it's one of the reasons that Islam is still medieval, primitive in the way that they treat women, human rights, and etc., while the West kept progressing. So long answer short, they need to do their own homework to get up with the game, which is to eradicate terrorism from among them, eradicate radical beliefs from among them, and start condemning such behaviors. The problem with the Muslim world now, that even if you have a peaceful Muslim friend, and you probably have, there's many of them, he will not go in the streets and stand against Hamas. They barely went to the street to stand against ISIS, to stand against Osama bin Laden. They didn't say a thing. But they went in the street to stand against Donald Trump or to stand against any Israeli or European liberal, democracy-loving, freedom-loving person that kind of opposed their agenda, which is a double standard and it's a very problematic thing. They need to learn to be criticizing towards themselves. Agam, ahlan. What about devil's advocate about tolerance? Seems like only Islam is serious about it. Seems like only Islam is serious about tolerance. I'm not so sure I understood that question, Agam. I know you're a very intelligent guy, so I don't understand. What about the devil advocate for tolerance? Seems like only Islam is serious about it. But be tolerant? I didn't understand the question. Maybe ask that again. Like they don't... tolerant bullshit. Yeah, Islam... Here's one thing, that Islam is actually right and the West is wrong. And maybe when you understand that, you will understand a little bit better the Muslim, I'm talking empire, world mindset. Islam is saying, and this is taught across many, many mosques, that we tried to defeat the West twice by the sword, and we failed. The West have better swords, better technology, better armies than us. But the thing is that we have that they don't have is we have Allah. And what they mean by that is saying that The West have taken man and put it in the center, and Allah is outside. It's all about me. It's all about how I feel. It's all about what I feel want to do. And God is not important. While Islam doesn't care about me. It cares about Allah. I am not important. And they're saying this is why we will conquer the West, because they threw Allah and they put themselves focused on themselves, and they're going to lead themselves down to a road of vanity. And they're gonna start arguing if men can go to women's bathroom and pronouns and all kind of stuff, while we are still focused on bringing Sharia into the world. So they are true about that. They're way more focused than the West about what they want. They want to control the world and they want to put it under Sharia law, because this is the basic Quran teaching. This is not made up. I'm not making this up. These are actually basic teachings that they're teaching in many mosques. You know, the publicly, you can find it on the internet. There's actually way worse teaching that they're saying there. Ken Zagam is here. Woo! It's exciting. So to answer that question, I don't support Islamists. I don't think that Islam is right now adding a lot of good things to the world. And I think it's bringing a lot of problems. Rami Morrison. Ahlan. Toda rabba. I think I know this name, Morrison. So I'm sure we have a lot of friends together. What are something that you like Islam after studying it? What I like? Well, Islam have a very cool military history. You know, as a military person myself, there's a lot of interesting stories about it. It was a religion that was based a lot around idealizing warriors, you know, because there were warriors before, nomadic warriors, and then Islam came and they continued with the same thing, you know, the Bedouins. So they do have a very interesting warrior history. The Assassin's Creed came from Islam, you know, it was named as Hashashin. So they have a very cool history. There used to be time that they were more tolerant than the Crusaders and more honorable. But that was before they became very religious. That was when they were, you know, expanding so fast. It was not too much time for religion. It was more politics. I like that. I like some values that Islam, or I would call it the Arab world, like Salah ad-Din, exactly. If you see in the Kingdom of Heaven, or the Kingdom, that movie, you know, he was very honorable. Salah ad-Din, when I was a kid, was my favorite hero. I grew up admiring Salah ad-Din. Many in the Arab world till today admire him because he was a great conqueror, but he was a philosopher as well, which is something you don't see in the Muslim world now. When you look at Hamas or Sinwar, he's not a philosopher. These guys are just savage barbarians. But these warlords back then, some of them were actually very smart and were into art and literature, etc. Another thing I like in Islam, and I think in the West is lacking, is the family values. The importance of having a family, the importance of the role of the father, of the mother, of the children, the respect that you see. I'm not talking in Gaza. Gaza is quite a different, well, there is people there, good ones, but Gaza became, you know, radicalized. But I'm talking in general in the Arab world, around the world, there's much more respect towards authority. There's much more respect toward the family structure. That's something that I really like about it. How do I make shakshuka? Should I say the secret? My secret to shakshuka, guys, is that Amir taught me how to make shakshuka. And the whole idea, aside in 1 second, is you make a hole with the egg in the tomatoes, and when you break the egg, it falls inside, and then it's flat, and then you crack it so all the white, the see-through stuff can go and can like be like a pie. Anyway, stop asking about shakshuka, Amir. Why do you think the main reason Islam is unable and unwilling to adjust to the current time? Christianity had a dark and violent, but we are able now. Religion is much less violent. Well, this is a very good question. And the reason for that, the academic reason for that, at least one of them when I was studying in the academy about it, Judaism and Christianity are considered ancient religions. They came before Islam. And they focused mostly on theology. I mean, Judaism spoke a little bit about how to build the tabernacle, you know, which wood to put and which measurement and where to put these things. But they didn't talk too much about taxes, about running a government. Same with Christianity. When people came to Jesus and asked him, hey, can you tell us what should we do for Caesar, etc. He told them, show me the coin. What's the picture? Caesar. Give to Caesar what to Caesar. Give to God what to God. And he basically set the stage for separating church and state later on. Religion, focus on religion. Politics, focus on politics. Don't mix the two. Islam is considered a more modern religion, and that was its downfall. Because it came later and it expanded so fast, it mixed religion with government so deeply that until today it have rules that if you try to break them, you are considered punishable by death in Islam. So Islam is basically talking about how you should tax people, talking about how you should conquer the world, talking about how you should govern the world. So any Muslim country that will come and say, okay, listen guys, we don't want to really do it like the Islamic Quran. The problem is that in the Quran it says, if someone says that, kill him. You know, if anyone watched, what was the name of the movie with Brad Pitt and that guy, Edward Norton? Can someone write it to me, the name of that movie? When he's dual personalities. Amir, you're a very good movie guy. Brad Pitt, Edward Norton, I think. Very famous movie. Fight Club. Exactly. I know Amir would know it. So in Fight Club, there's the scene, if you remember, that he's in the bathroom and they're about to come and cut his, schnitzken. And he's telling them, no, don't do that. And they said, well, you told us we're going to say that. I said, no, I give you an order right now. I said, well, you told us you're going to say that as well. And Islam kind of did the same. It says if anyone come and try to say that he shouldn't govern like that, kill him. If anyone is coming trying to say that Muhammad wasn't, kill him. So they kind of made himself a bulletproof ideology that it's very hard for any country to get out of it. Because anything you try to say that contradicts a little bit, you're punishable by death. And you have the gushpanka of, the Quran, which in Judaism and Christianity, you don't really have that much. They don't really call too much about, Judaism did say about adultery, you should stone them and I don't know what, but Judaism did manage to detach itself from these ancient biblical rules and adapt to modern set of values, which Islam is not really succeeding. That's why you don't have any single Muslim country today that is proper democracy. Is this why people under Islamic regimes are unhappy but also unable to make a big change? Because the religion is entering? Yes. That's why people from Islamic regimes are running away from these regimes. Gushpanka, are running away from these regimes. They run from Syria, they run from Iraq, they run from Afghanistan, they come to Europe because the regimes were terrible to them. But then in Europe, they demand Sharia law. Now, many of them don't want Sharia law, but they don't dare to say anything about it. Because if they come and say, no, we actually enjoy Europe for being a Christian, for being modern, for being liberal, and someone comes and says, wait, you say that Islam is not the best solution for the world? Like Muslims will come and corner them in these refugee camps. I know because I had relatives who were there. They were almost killed because they said they're not going to go to Muslim demonstrations that wanted to implement Sharia law. We're talking about a refugee camp. Refugees that fled from Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, because they were killed by Muslims. They came to Europe, and then in this camp, people said, let's go and do a demonstration demanding Sharia law in this country. How outrageous, how disrespectful. But anyway, my relative was there, because he was Syrian, came and told him, sorry, no, he didn't say anything, actually, he didn't go. Next day, they came and they grabbed him with a knife to his neck, next to his wife, and they asked him, why didn't you come to demonstration? You don't support Islam? Now, he's cornered now. What should he say? No, I don't. Dead. Yes, I do. Then why aren't you coming and saying Islam said that we need to convert the whole world to Islam? So to your question, yes, it's a problem because even people who flee out of it, our hands are tied a little bit in terms of trying to oppose what they ran away from. So they keep quiet because they will get killed if they speak. And then the ones who want to change, they're free. It's important to have a gushpanka. Amir has been cut on the gushpanka. I love it. Should the U.S. protect the rest of the world or not? What about people saying the U.S. needs to fix things? Or absolutely. The U.S., if the U.S. doesn't, if it wasn't for America during Nazi Germany, we'd be living right now under Nazi Germany. So anyone who's coming and saying a lot of stuff about the U.S., and you know what, every country does mistakes. There's no holy or perfect country. But the U.S. have done so much good compared to the bad. And if it wasn't the U.S., see, the world is a big, bad neighborhood. And you have big, big houses and small houses. And some of these houses want to take the other houses and want to beat up everyone there, want to kill everyone there, want to commit terrible crimes. And one of the reasons sometimes they don't dare doing that because there's in the neighborhood one house called USA. And there's a guy there sitting with a husband beater and a baseball bat and some redneck hat. And he's not the perfect guy, but at least he stands on good values. And if House China jumps now and do something, or House Russia, they will go and beat the crap out of them. That's why every time that the US was strong, we barely saw any wars around the world. Every time the US was weak, all hell goes loose. So the US is protecting the world, and if you ask me, it is important that they keep doing that, because that was their lesson in Nazi Germany in Second World War, where they thought, okay, we can, keep our head in the ground, it's not our problem. But then the war came to them. Pearl Harbor, and Nazi Germany was running after the nuclear bomb. So US woke up and realized, you know what? You cannot say it's not our problem, because the world is our neighborhood. And if I'm sitting in a house thinking, okay, I care about my house, but the neighborhood I live in is full of crime and drug lords and I don't know what, by ignoring them, they will end up coming to your house. So in short, yes, the US should definitely step up its game and keep defending the world. Dictionary. Gushpanka, non-hasher in Hebrew. Okay. Seal of approval in English. Yes. Thank you. Thank you, Amir. See, Gushpanka was the right word. Question. Is the news in the US, it's being reported that Biden is considering bringing the Palestinian refugees. Bringing in. Wow. I never heard that he's planning on bringing them to the US. I will answer your question in a second, Agam. One thing I can say, there is a reason why none of the Arab countries around Palestine want to take a single Palestinian refugee. And not because they don't care about humans, and not because they don't care about their other brothers, because they will help if they can. Sorry, the thing is with the Palestinians is that they bring with them a very radical ideology. The Muslim Brotherhood ideology at its finest, like, boosted on steroids. And every country that ever took Palestinian refugees regretted it. It brought terrorism, it brought assassination of political figures, it brought an attempt to overthrow the government. Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, Egypt, Europe. Look what's happening in Europe. In your campuses in the US, you allowed a few of the Palestinian, pro-Palestine radicals, and look what's happening. You're having people kidnapping, hijacking a whole university and demanding humanitarian aid and all kind of crazy stuff. And it's getting worse. So everywhere they go, they bring death and destruction with them. I'm not talking all Palestinians, I'm talking the ideology, because it's a very radical ideology and it's not being addressed. All right. I just faceplanted. Any questions? Biden has lost his mind. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not there, but it does look like. It's very weird to me that the guy can barely walk and remember his name. And he's the president of the strongest country in the world, So, although sometimes he seems very coherent. Sometimes he seems like very sharp. And you start thinking, does he take his medications all the time? Or maybe he's under medication, then they take it away. Okay, we need him sharp now. Go speak. And then put him back on medication. I don't know, because it's just really weird. Sometimes completely out of it, and sometimes he's just spot on. Do you have a story from your life that has a moral conclusion? Bonus point if it is something we need to learn in the West. Ooh. I have a lot, actually. One time I almost got robbed in the desert. It was I was in a picnic there with a girl. Took her to this beautiful romantic place, and there was like a waterfall in the desert and a small kind of rock bed, and we're sitting. And as we're coming out of this picnic, I decided to go on a different path, and I went around a rock, and I saw 4 Palestinian Bedouins, young guys between the ages of 14 to 17, with the kafiyas on their heads, sitting there with like sticks and knives, and they were planning on robbing us. Now, they didn't know, because they were thinking that I'm going to come back from the same way I came, but I came back from another way, and I surprised them. So when I got there and I jumped in front of them, I saw them, they saw me. First second, they were shocked. I was faster to turn off the shock element, and I immediately grabbed one of their hands and twisted it behind his back and put my hand behind my back as if I have a pistol. They panicked. And then I spoke with them, and I gave them a very strict look. It was a crazy look, like I would enjoy this. And when I did that, they were just scared as shit. So then I made them walk with us, and we talked, and they were literally scared shitless. They were walking in front of me in a line until they went and disappeared. And we got saved from being attacked and maybe even killed and kidnapped, or I don't know what. Long story short, the value that we're giving here, sometimes there's some cultures in the world that power is communication. Power is negotiation. And when you show weakness, you're dead. In that moment, if I didn't show power, if I didn't show willingness to go all the way, they would have probably attacked us. There were 4, we were 1, I was with a girl. But the fact, and that's when people say they don't speak Arabic. People don't understand the Middle East and a lot of crazy places in the world don't understand that if you're not strong, if you're not perceived as strong, you're inviting violence. So sometimes by being stronger, you end up using way less violence. In that case, all 4 of them surrendered and cooperated because they were afraid that I will beat the shit out of them. Or even worse, because I literally gave them a crazy look, like I will enjoy this. And they were just panicked. But if I would have not shown that sense of power in that moment, will end up being me with them rolling on the ground, stabbing each other, I don't know what, breaking rocks in each other's heads. There'll be a lot of blood. So by being powerful, you end up using less power. That's another thing. So I hope that helps. Agam, let me know if I got an extra point. Let's see the questions here. Love from Iran. Guys, I love you so much. During this war, I got exposed to so many Iranian friends. I have crazy story with Iranians. I once saved the life of an Iranian refugee that was about to drown in the ocean. Crazy story. Amir was there with me, actually. Maybe I should tell you that story, but let me just read. Me and Amir saved the life of an Iranian refugee. I'm just trying to see that I don't miss any questions. I heard that there's a way to ping questions. I don't know how you do that. All right, do you have a story from your life? Yes, I did. I shared that. Love from Iran. We'll tell about that. Iranian story coming up, guys. Presidential candidates need to go rest homes. I think in most of the world right now, we have really weird candidates to run the world. I personally prefer Trump to Biden, buddy. Biden has made the United States look weak. I agree. You know, I'm not talking personally if I like person or not, relatively, or, you know, if I would want to sit for a bonfire or have a coffee with him. I'm saying as someone who makes the U.S. strong, world behave. U.S. looks weak, ISIS goes up, radical Islam goes up, Russia invade Ukraine, you know, China, etc. So it's true. What is your counterpoint to those who say this is a land war? They fight over who is indigenous while they ignore the religion. It's not. It's a religious war. It's a religious war, 100%. You know, the Islam have so many lands around. You know, it's a religious war. And Israel, you see, in the Quran, it's said that the world is divided to 2. Dar al-Salam, Dar al-Islam, Dar al-Harb. The house of Islam, the house of war. And Islam is called to open. They don't say conquer. They say futuh, meaning the world is in darkness and we need to open it to the light of Islam. So they're called to open the world to the light of Islam. How? By bringing Sharia law all around the world. And then you need to go to the house of war and you have a jihad. Jihad is an effort. But the jihad is to conquer the world in that, you know, particular case. And you can do it by the sword, by marrying and bringing children. A woman, when in Islam, when you marry a woman, you're not asking her. She becomes Muslim and she can never convert back, and her children are Muslim, rather like it or not. And if they try to convert, they all should be dead. So like, if you're a woman and you're thinking about marrying a Muslim guy right now, you know, if you're in a Muslim country, I would think twice, 100 times before I take that step, because as per the Quran, you'll be considered right now a Muslim and you can never convert back. And if you try, you know, they can kill you. Just, you know, teaching Quran. What is your... Kuwait was the first country that hosted Palestinians and they supported the Iraqi invasion in Kuwait. Thank you for correction. Yeah. They should both leave. Okay. Biden, Trump versus RFK. Wow. I got exposed to RFK only lately. I really don't know the guy too much in depth, but so far I'm liking him. So far he's giving me the vibe of someone that can save America's left. America's left have been so radicalized, so wokealized, that it just kind of lost his mind. And I'm sure there's many left people and liberal people in America that haven't lost their minds, that still hold to good, healthy family values, country values, and are not all about anarchy and wanting to destroy the US. And I think RFK kind of represent that in my eyes. He seems more connected to reality while holding left-wing values. So I think he's a very interesting candidate. I wonder, I would like to see him as a president, to be honest. I would like to see a left-wing normal president in the US and not someone like Obama or Biden, which are completely terrible and catastrophic for the world, at least. I think Trump will be better. Trump will be better to stop the madness in the world. That is no doubt. Because the world fear him. Because he's that big guy with a baseball bat. Mess with us, mess with our ally, will break your legs. You'd rather have power on your side than on the other side. And Trump doesn't play games. And for a fact, when he was a president, there was not a single war happening in the world, almost. Or, America did not engage in any war, and the world was very peaceful. Actually, economically even was doing good. So, hard to argue with facts. 1 point for Gryffindor for the story. I'm a fan from Texas. Thanks for the history lessons on the Druze. I love Texas. Some of my best friends are living in Texas. I go there quite a lot. I have a business that I invested in Texas. I have good friends there. I think it's one of the last strongholds for American values. When I was in Texas, I was so impressed. We went in this rodeo house, I remember, and they start by singing the anthem in America, and everybody stood and started singing the anthem and being thankful for being in a great country. And I thought, like, wow, this is so missing in the rest of the US. There's so many people that don't understand that they're living in the best country in the world, or probably one of the best countries. I live in Germany. I think it's a great country, and I think the US is in the same league, great in different ways. And people are, just hating their country, don't really know what kind of a world is outside, what kind of a Jurassic Park is outside their camp, with dinosaurs and, people going and killing each other right, left, and center. Ask that all put question before a question. That's a good idea, Shannon Zion. That will help me find them. Thank you, Shayna. Let's hope US get a strong leadership soon. A weak US is probably... Every time the US have a weak leadership, it's like in a game, in Monopoly. Every time the US have elected a left-wing president so far, which are usually weak, they take 2 steps towards an apocalypse. Every time they elect a Republican president or someone who's strong, but it seems to be Republicans, they take 1 step back. So it's like the US is bringing itself closer to an apocalypse, but every time kind of going 1 step back. They need to go several step backs. An example, Iran nuclear weapon deal. Imagine if Iran will get a nuclear weapon. North Korea, China, Russia, all these countries, every time the US shows weakness, they allow themselves to show more power, conquer more places, and test out. And the thing is, when you test out people, you wear them off and you start finding out what they're capable of doing. And that's what Russia and China is doing as well. And by doing that, America is losing from its koach harta'a, we say that in Hebrew, from its power to kind of scare you from doing something wrong. Israel lost it big time during 7th October. And even now with the response, because they haven't responded strong enough against Hamas, they're a little bit losing it. And now other terrorist groups are looking, wow, look what's happening there. Interesting. Israel didn't destroy them. They're kind of getting dirty, hands dirty in the mud because they're fighting in a humanitarian way. But it does have that effect. What can people here do to make a positive change in your eyes? Wow, Agam is going full on with like deep philosophy questions. Number 1, marry, bring children, raise them to be good children. That's probably the best, most important achievement and gift you can give this world. Most of us are not going to invent a machine that will filter all the water and clean the oceans or I don't know what and feed the hungry. But if you bring 2, 3, 4, 5 children and you raise them good, to be strong, to be moral, to be kind, to be brave, to be adventurous, to be creative, the power that you bring to the world is amazing. And also, you'll end up battling the other side is bring a lot of children and teach them radicalization. So if you want to really help the world, find a good girl, find a good husband, raise a good family on values, teach them to be, respectful, loving, kind, peaceful, and contributing members of society. Did I get any more points for that, Agam? Can I ask all the hard questions? I think either ask it in private or in chat. Ask, man, any hard question. If I can answer, answer. If not, not. If I tell you I'd rather not, I'll just tell you I'd rather not. So please ask. Ram Chayun. Ram! There's a given. Wow. Man, I'm finding so many friends here. Ram, Elad brought you. Ram, guys, he's a survivor from the... Is it safe to say the Nova massacre? You guys were running there, if that's correct. And they had to survive, they got shot and etc. You have a crazy story. I really want to do a podcast with you and hear that story. By the way, guys, I'm planning on building my own podcast where I want to invite people either social, online, or, to come here to Germany and we can sit and have a nice German Butchen and talk about all kind of stuff. So Ram, if you're interested, I would love to hear your story. Hard questions, it's a great opportunity to learn, always done respectfully. I don't think that's an issue. Right, BT, you're very right. Be'er Sheva is better. Hey, calm down, man. Calm down. Adelat, Habibi. Be'er Sheva have a good football team, I'll give you that. Top 5 tips for a zombie apocalypse. I'll come back to that, Agam, in a second. The normal lefties don't change. The far left jokes just pulled so far that the left were one. Exactly. And that's what I feel also happened in Israel, by the way. Israel, a lot of the left wing found themselves becoming center now because the left, some of them went completely radical. Same thing with the right. A lot of the right wing, I used to be, not me, but people say I used to be right wing and now right wing became like... So the same thing happened in the US, and I feel like they don't have a voice or they're not being heard enough. I know amazing lefties friends in the US, amazing liberal friends, and I know amazing Republican friends. And I'm sure there's a lot of them. But when you look at the news, you'll see the radicals, you see the extremists on both sides. You'll see these fanatics in Columbia University, or you see some, extreme rednecks, racists, kind of on the right, or ignorant on the other side. So you're right, Rami. Battle of Israel, cities and villages. What do you mean Battle of Israel, cities and villages? Question. Israel and the US, BT is having a question. Israel and the US could have gone for Iran nuclear facilities in response to Iran's shooting. Why do you think they didn't? Should they have? Wow. Great questions. I actually was planning on making a video about that. If there's one thing, if there's one war right now on the face of this earth that you will say is justified, one regime that you will take down that you will say was justified, that'll be Iran. America took Iraq down. Other ones, people think, I don't know. Iran will be justified. If you take Iran right now, let's see who is going to be happy. The Iranian people will be very happy, thankful. They'll be thanking you and kissing you and throwing flowers at you. Israel will be happy because now you don't have Iran who want to wipe out Israel. Europe will be happy because Iran is one of the biggest leader in the radical Muslim Brotherhood immigration, pumping it into Europe. Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Arab countries will be happy because Iran hates them and want to destroy them because Sunni and Shia, they hate each other more than they hate the West. Who would be sad if Iran is down? Hamas, the Houthis, and Hezbollah. Let's be serious. And maybe Russia a little bit. It's a complete force of evil. I'm talking the regime, not the people. And that force of evil wanna reach nuclear weapons. So I am very disappointed that Israel and America did not seize the opportunity to just go and take them down. Help bring that regime down. You bring it down, you're gonna bring so much. It might be like a few years of shaking, but there's gonna be so much more stability in the Middle East, in Europe, in the world. So why are they not taking them down? It's a good question. Maybe there's Russia ties behind, China ties behind, maybe there's Biden administration ties behind. I'm not so sure. But something is fishy. I wanted to make a video about this. Intimidation force. Koach harta'ah. Thank you, Emmanuel. That's the word I was trying to look for. But your question is, BT, coming back to Iran, it's inevitable. Some wars, sometimes the solution is war. It's very sad to say it. War is terrible, and if you can find a solution to avoid war, that's the best thing. But if you don't take the right actions, you're going to end up with having war at your doorstep. And with Iran, we didn't take the right necessary action. I'm talking the world. And now war with Iran is inevitable. The question is going to be today or it's going to be in 5-10 years from now. And if you ask me, the more you wait, the bloodier it will get. Same thing with Hamas. If Israel would have attacked Hamas and finished Hamas in Oferet Yitzhakah or any other of the wars, there would have been a death toll in Gaza, but it would have been less than what's happening now. There would have been less death for both sides. So the longer you let your enemy prevail and prepare for you, the harder it's going to become to take him down. And with Iran, I don't see a way around war with them. It's starting to sound like a warmonger. I'm not. I'm a peaceful guy, but I just know I've been to war. I've been in the army, and I know that sometimes, when things are, that's the only option left, you need to be strong. Can't wait for the podcast. Yes. So glad to have found you. You found me only today? BT. Wow. I feel like, we've known each other for so long. Agam is asking about the zombies. I'll come back to the zombies in a second, Agam. Hello from California. Came here through Klat. Thank you so much, HD. I love Klat. Just to say a few words about him. He's been contacting me in the past, and I talked to him a little bit, and then I watched his YouTube, and I saw, wow, what an impressive, interesting guy he is. And then one time we had a phone call where he told me that I should put more effort into YouTube, because YouTube is a platform that more serious people sit to watch and listen. People watch it on TV. They watch more than 90 seconds, 60 seconds of snippets. Agam has been telling me that as well. And also YouTube help monetize, so it can help reward creators like me who want to keep doing videos like that. So we don't need to go and look for another, 8 to 6 job, and then we don't have time to make these videos. So he's been a lot of time giving a lot of guidance and tips. And he was the one that told me I should do reels, lives like this. So thank you, Klat. We call to progressive Jewish people token Jews, as they call themselves Jewish brothers and sisters like Noam Chomzi. Now, is that different when I listen to you, Musab, Lucky Yusuf, and others? No, it's different. How can I explain it's different? The people who came out of Islam, like let's say the son of Hamas and others, came out with a risk to their life. Very brave what they did. People want them dead. A lot of people want them dead because they're speaking against, or they're exposing Islam, radical Islam. And they know what they're talking about. You listen to them, you see, actually, they're right. You look at these self-hating Jews who are trying to portray Israel as an apartheid. No one is going to kill them. No one is going to harm them. They're not really brave. Actually, they're getting so much more reward in their circles. You're so progressive. People are inviting them for cafe latte, vanilla free, or all kind of, weird stuff that they have there. I need to look behind my back. I'm getting death threats, right, left, and center for standing up. Son of Hamas, how many people would want him dead for speaking? Not many Israelis will go around now looking for these self-hating Jews and try to kill them, if any. So it's not the same. What experience should any person go through, your opinion? Hikes, army, MMA, etc. Martial arts, I recommend for anyone to take. It builds personality, builds characters, and gives confidence, and it will come in handy one day. It's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war. 100%. Military service, definitely, I would recommend. I've done mine, and it teaches you so much values as a young man, and it teaches you so much about yourself. I would recommend military service in general. But if you're speaking about hikes, for example, as well, there's a difference between going on a day hike, to 3 days hike, to 1 week hike, to several months. Different categories. I've done them all. I've crossed countries. I've walked all of Israel. I've walked all of Jordan by foot. And when you do a more than 3 days hike, and that's the one I'm going to recommend, you cannot carry everything you need in your backpack. You cannot carry food and water usually for more than 3 days. So you're gonna end up starting planning and learning the terrain that you're hiking in. Okay, this area we can rest under that tree. Over here we can put our backpacks and hike to that nearby village to get some food. Over here we can use the water that comes from the river, filter it. Your trip becomes more of a survival, more connected to nature, and you're becoming more navigation wise. So a hike that is more than 3 days, a 1 week hike, 2 weeks hike, I think it's very good for any person. It teaches you so much about yourself, teaches you about the world, and it takes you away from this bubble that we live in, this new era of social media and modernization where everything is so comfortable, and you get to realize, wow, this is how humans lived forever, and this is how we can live. If things go bad, we can go to that. So I think that's definitely a good tip. Go hiking, long hikes. And it's healthy for you. You lose so much weight, you get in so much fitness. When I walked all over Israel by foot, I was on the top of my fitness. I'm talking, I could outrun any Navy SEAL. I can run faster than a marathon runner. I was so strong. Because I was walking with 40 kilos on my backpack, 30 to 40 kilometers a day in the mountains. So imagine when I took my backpack down and one day I went to run, I ran 3 kilometers sprint, like Born Identity sprint. I didn't gas out, just kept running. So it makes you strong. So hiking is very good if you do like long hikes. I don't see super chat option here. Do you have any links or PayPal to donate to your channel? Would love to donate, help you. Thank you so much, man. BT, I like you. We should be friends. So I'm new to this, maybe because I'm not monetized yet. I need to get 4,000 hours of views on my YouTube channel, so it's eligible. So maybe that's why I don't have it here. But yes, I do have a link tree on my YouTube and Instagram, where I have my OnlyFans account. No, I don't have an OnlyFans, guys, I'm joking. But where I have my PayPal and other means, I think I have Patreon. I just started it lately, and I would definitely appreciate any donation or help right now is going directly to paying the rent for the studio and any expenses, because I'm doing this for free. So I don't end up losing money on doing what I'm doing so far. So anything that in that line is highly appreciated, guys. Thank you so much for this question, BT. The link is in my Instagram and YouTube. There's a PayPal there, and in all kind of ways. If there was one thing that you would change about Israel to make it better, what would it be? What would it be? One thing. I'm gonna shoot from my hip right now. I love Israel. One thing to change, I would keep the same education values that I feel that we had during the time of the kibbutzim, when Israel started as a country. Before it got polarized by politics, things were just so much easier than now. Now you have the right-wing camp, the Bibi camp, and you have the anti-Bibi camp, and they seem to hate each other so much. So one thing I would change with that. Actually, you know what? I'll take it more. One thing I will change right now, in a snap of a finger, is replace the entire government of Israel. Snap of a finger. Replace them. You had October 7, you failed big time. Say, sorry guys, we did a mistake, move out, let someone else do it. That would be one thing that I'll replace, because you can't fool anyone. October 7, as a government of Israel, you had one job. There's one road there, one fence. You have one of the strongest armies in the world, and you just fell asleep on your nose, and people came with parachutes and farming vehicles and motorcycles and bicycles and did what they did. So that was definitely a big catastrophe, and I don't feel like there's enough consequences happening right now. So that's one thing I'll definitely change. And hopefully by the next live stream, we'll see more options where you can donate and support. I hope that as well, man. That would be cool. Like I said, that will help me pay the studio, and that will help me get gear. I am using the broken phone and broken cameras, and I want to do a proper podcast. So I want to get some real good gear, so that would be good. Stay here all night. Thanks, AC. What don't you like about the Israeli government now, and what should they do better? Okay, I think I answered that, Agam. But maybe, like I said, I don't like now that they're. I think we're lacking leadership in this war. And if I can, one magic trick, I would implement teaching Arabic in schools. Teaching Arabic in schools in Israel, spoken Arabic, not philosophy Arabic, will make such a big difference for the Arabs living in Israel, for the Jews. And I think that's a shame that most Israelis don't speak Arabic. I speak it fluent, it's my language, and it just helped me so much in life. What about Hatikva? I love Hatikva. I think it's a great time. It gives me goosebumps every time I hear it, even though I'm not a Jew. Israel is the Jewish nation, and I respect that. Israel is the only Jewish nation in the world, and they have to keep their Jewish identity. And I'm a living example. How can an Arab live side by side with Jews where they respect each other? I am free to do whatever I want in Israel. They're free to do whatever they want in Israel. We're not contradiction. We're not trying to kill one another. So I have no problem with Hatikva. I think it's a great song. Never bothered me. I sang it many times. I used to be an officer in the army. I would salute when the Hatikva was going out. So yes, teach more Arabic. Maybe I should. In social media, I'm a Jew, can feel guilty for almost everything. Maybe the channel of government after war. Change. Yes, I agree. It's not a good idea to change it now, but I'm just wondering if it's going to happen. I didn't know that about RFK, that he have a worm in his brain. That sounds interesting. Hope he's good. Ainora is asking, could you please introduce yourself in a brief for non-Jewish people like me? Awkward asking these things. Everyone's familiar with you, but I'm not. All right, definitely. Good question. So let's go. My name is Mansur. I'm an Israeli. I'm an Arab. I'm a Druze. It's a very small secret religion that grew up in Israel under Islam, and now is running by itself. I served in the military in Israel. I grew up in that land. I know it inside out. I speak Arabic in my home. After the war started, I became a big advocate for Israel because it's my country, it's my home, because I knew how anti-Semitism is going to work, and I knew that people are going to try to lie and make Israel look like an apartheid. And Israel is not an apartheid, and me and my family are a living example. My mom is one of the most respected religious women, Arab women in my city. Everybody loves her, a Jewish city. My sisters are free to roam Israel. So that's in short about me. I was an officer in the army for many years. I was in special forces. I studied at university, psychology and the history of Islam, Judaism, Christianity. I traveled the world a lot. I used to work all around the world. I went to Africa to build a school in Africa that we're still building together with Agam. Amir was supposed to come with me, but he didn't come in the end. I bet he regrets, but he still has a chance to come with me next time. The school is not finished yet. We're building an orphanage in Africa. I live in Germany right now because my kid is living here, and I think family values are the most important thing in life, and I would not let my child grow up without a father. So I left Israel and came here in Germany because his mother didn't want to go to Israel. So that was in a short way, Nora, I hope. And I started doing videos and YouTube's now. Basically, I left my last job after October 7, October 8, and decided I'm going to dedicate myself. I had a great job. I love it. I miss it. But I feel like I'm more important right now, contributing my country and the world in education by doing these videos than going back to a great job that I love and I miss. So I hope that answers your question, Enora. Thanks for asking. Just letting you know that what I can hear now, explosion sounds, war is fully back on. Ram, how far do you live from Gaza that you're hearing these explosions? I guess you're living not far from Rafah. You mean how he feels about the words of Hatikva? Yeah, I answered. Nefesh Yehudi kol balevav. Hatikva is speaking about the Jews. And as a Druze, it never bothered me. I couldn't care less. It never bothered me. Israel is a great country. It's a Jewish country, and I respect that. And they deserve to have their own song. For 2,000 years, they were outside of Israel. Finally, they come back. They want to have a song to celebrate the sacrifice that people made along the way to bring them here, and the hope that they finally have their own country. So I'm all for the tikva. Good to see you here. Okay. Something to change in Israel is to have Arabic education as a mandatory class. Absolutely, Emmanuel. I agree. Looks like you wrote that before I spoke. Shayna, don't feel bad. You're serving. Okay, thank you. If you are Head of the Mossad, what would you do now? If I was head of the Mossad, what would I do now? More assassinations of Hamas supporters all around the world. Straight on, brutal, make an example of them. Put back the fear of God in the enemies of Israel. 100%. I feel like they kind of fell asleep. So that's definitely what I will also do. If I was, the head of the Mossad, I would start supporting what the Palestinians were doing when we were not ready. Supporting causes that help educate students around the world about how good Israel is and what's the true face of radical Islam, of Hamas-like, and of the radical pro-Palestinians. Because you do that now, and you reap the fruits in 25 years, in a generation to come. And that's what they were doing for so many years, and now we're seeing the world that just hates us. So, social media, TikTok, Instagram, these things are not a joke. They're like magic portals that people suddenly have now where they can see live. You show that to someone from the Bible, you go to Moses and his friends, they'll be mind blown. You just open a magic portal where I can talk to someone live from the other side of the world. That's what I'm doing with you guys right now. So social media is so powerful. I am in Germany. Some of you can be right now in Bangladesh or I don't know where and can actually maybe learn something from me. And if I'm a good teacher, I can teach something good. If I'm a bad teacher, I can make him radicalized. So I think they should put more emphasis into the education of young generation, because these young generations are going to be the next adults. And right now, almost like they did the survey of TikTok users, people from the age of 17 to 24, 25, 50% of them, I think 49% of them supported Hamas. 51% were against. This is like a flip of a coin where people are supporting, an ISIS-like organization. So I think the Mossad, instead of only just assassination, I don't know what, should put a lot of emphasis into the higher education systems around the world to change a whole generation. That's like look into the future. If you were ahead, okay, that's what, I believe that all Israeli students should learn Arabic. Absolutely, Shayna Tzion. Absolutely. 100% agree with Arabic in school. I wish I had learned it. Yes, Rami. Definitely. I mean, so many of my friends now, they look back and they wish. Do most Druze people share your views about Israel? Yeah, most Druze in Israel, absolutely. Druze in Lebanon and Syria, not necessarily, but they don't hate Israel. They just, Druze are trying to be loyal to the land that they're in, and they're trying to basically say to the government, you respect us, we respect you, just we don't want to have our own country. So, but yeah, most of them, I know a lot from Syria and Lebanon. I helped several of them, survive and flee war zones, and they love Israel. Generic link of Israelis to the Druze and the entire Jewish population. Yeah, there was a lot of gene studies that they did about the Druze and the Jews, and they found that there's a lot of closeness. They found that the Druze came from the mountains over Lebanon, over Turkey, and there was a tribe of Jews living next to them. And these Jews went later on to Europe, became the Ashkenazi Jews, and the Druze came down to Egypt to try to present the Druze belief to the Caliph, and then he wanted to kill them. Islam started persecuting them, and they ran back to the north of Israel, Lebanon, and Syria. So they found that there were probably a lot of friends between these two tribes of the Jews and the Druze, and that's why you have also a lot of Druze with blue eyes. My family name is Ashkar, which means blonde. If you translate Mansur Ashkar, it will be Victor Bright. Mansur is victorious, Ashkar is blonde. So Victor Blonde or Victor Bright. My dad had green eyes. So there's a lot of Druze that have this Ashkenazi kind of genes in them that are very close to the Jews. I love you, the traveling clat. Finally, I see that you came here. Thanks so much, man. I just said it before you came, and I'm saying it now. A lot of this first live that I'm doing, thanks to you. And thanks to you introducing me into a lot of the cool parts of YouTube that I wasn't really, getting involved with. And I'm definitely going to start doing more and more YouTube. I think you're an inspiration, and I'm looking up to you, brother. And I love what you're doing. So thanks, Klat. Thanks, Tal. Love you. And Tal is, I don't know if that's a spoiler, but Tal is planning to make a really cool video. Let's just say about food. And I'm not gonna say anything else, but let's just say it's a food that I know very closely, and it's a very yummy food. So I'm just throwing that in the air, guys. But there might be a really cool YouTube that Tal is planning on making that is worth seeing. Any of his videos, but that particular one. Let me jump down. Love you, Tal. And thanks for bringing. Who's a damn Menstash? Okay, it's not mustache. Artal glass of water. Question. How does it feel that the Druze in Israel or in the IDF fight against the Druze in Syria and Lebanon? It happened in the past. It happened that they fought against each other. They hate it. They don't love it at all. But the Druze see themselves loyal to the country that they're in. And they say it's part of their religion. That any country that we're under, we're going to be loyal to it. And we just ask that they don't ask us to do something that is terrible. So if they would come and ask the Druze to go and to invade a village of Druze in Lebanon and just butcher everything, they won't do that. Not only the Druze, but also the Jews, because the IDF had these very moral codes that don't allow you to follow. It's like a black flag in front of your eyes, and you should not follow that order. There is these rules. But in general, if it's a war, they've done it in the past. They had to fight against their brothers and sisters. They hated it. But something interesting about the Druze is the Druze believe in reincarnation. So they believe that if you die, you're going to be born again. So they're not that afraid of death as well, which made them great warrior during the year. And that's why they managed to survive against so many Muslim empires who just wanted to annihilate them. I'll speak to Mansur about this after live. I'll help him set up his donation link. If you guys promise me we support him together. Man, Tal, I love you, brother. Yes, get me monetized, guys. That would be so cool. It'll be so cool because I want to be doing, to share with you honestly right now. If I will tell you my daily schedule, it will throw you off your chair. Like I wake up at 6 in the morning, I prepare breakfast for my kid, then I drive on the bicycle sometimes in the winter in the snow to the forest because he goes to a forest kindergarten and drop him there. Then I drive the bicycle to the studio that I'm renting with my own money. And I reach there around 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30. I make coffee, I start filming. I have 3 to 4 hours to film. I think about the YouTube that I'm going to make on the way to the studio. I run the script in my head and how the camera's going to work and everything. And I get there, I do it, add subtitles. I go pick my kid from the kindergarten. I spend quality time with him because that's the most important thing for me, to be a father to this kid and to prepare this human for the life that we're living in. And after that, when he falls asleep, I sit and I add subtitles and I upload it. On top of that, I take side jobs here and there to try to support right now what I'm doing, so that will definitely help me. Why is the Druze so secretive? Because of persecution. Yes, big part of it is because of persecution. Another part of it is because the religion have its own secrets that they don't even share with the Druze themselves. Only if you become religious, it takes you years to get to that classification level. Let's see. Peeps, are marshmallow chicks available at Easter? Traveling Clat seems to have like a really cool base of, fan base or follower base. I like that. I've been having some really, I have good followers on Instagram, but I have some really nasty ones. So that's nice to see so many good supports and kind supports. So Agam, you asked a question about zombies. Are you still here? Because I might answer. If not, do you also follow the Torah? I studied deeply during my army service and after. Shit, Agam is still here. I need to answer about zombies. Well, I'll answer about the Torah first. So I studied the history of Islam, Judaism, Christianity. I studied the Bible, the Old Testament and the New Testament, intensely. I even walked all the land of Israel holding the Bible in one hand and a book of history, and I put places in the pages so I can read what happened, where it happened. It took me 32 days walking 1,300 kilometers. I was right after the army, and I was in special forces. We used to walk a lot, so I walked fast. But I studied all these things. I love the Torah, I love the Bible, I love the Old Testament and the New Testament. I think they contain so many words of wisdom for our life. And someone once told me that if you follow the 10 Commandments just follow the 10 commandments as they are, your life will improve drastically. Just simply, you will stop cheating, you'll stop lying, you won't kill anyone, you won't commit adultery, you will respect elderly, you will love your neighbor like so there's so many commandments that are just pure gold, that if you just follow them as they are, your life will improve. So yes, I do love the Torah and I follow it. You're welcome, Elena Tramsti. I hope I didn't butcher your name. Yeah, reincarnation, there's a lot of weird stories. I can't explain it. Question from BT. Is that like a picture of a puppy with... It's so hard to see, but I love the questions from BT so far. He's been good. Would you consider doing a paid talk like via Zoom link, possibly, where you do a series of history of religion? Would you love... Yeah, I would love that. Anything that right now will help me educate people and share the truth about it and help me get paid for it so I can keep doing what I'm doing, definitely. I think when I started making my videos, I didn't share in the beginning because I made 70 videos in 70 days in the beginning after October 7. October 8, I made every day made a video. And I made the video relevant to what happened. Immediately made it and ran back with my kid. The crazy schedule I told you was insane. And after 70 days, I realized I haven't said a single word about myself. No one knows actually what I've studied, what I've did in the past. And some people were making comments also about, yeah, he's an interesting people. What does he know? And that made me think, you know what? I actually studied that in university. I spent a lifetime of studying these religion, these conflicts. I was also a military expert. I was an officer in the army for 9 years. I was in special forces and regular forces and etc. inside and out. I've been through all borders of Israel. So I do know, I've been to Gaza, so I do know these things inside out because people were making comments like, what does he know about strategy and that and that? So I think I should definitely make a video that I'm actually telling a little bit about my background to help people who are maybe skeptic a little bit. Okay, maybe this guy knows what he's talking about and not, just a pretty face, which is definitely not the case here. Okay, Agam, back to the zombies. What was your question about zombies? Maybe you can write that again. If you're not here, I'm not answering any question about zombies. Even among people whose religion rejects... Shit, Agam is still here. All right, top 5 tips about zombies. HD, thank you so much. Thank you for subscribing. Everyone is here. I appreciate so much. I enjoyed this talk. Klat, thank you for bringing this to me. I'm going to do this more often. So answering Agam's question, we're going to finish with the zombie unless someone comes with a very good question. Top 5 things to have with you in a zombies is have a kid, like my kid, that you train from a young age to be a savage so he can be your right hand as you go in the forest into the woods. Have some kind of a brotherhood, good friends. Maybe you'll be detached, but you'll connect to each other, and then together you can help survive. People they can trust. You need to have good skills with firearms and good skills with backpacking and hiking and surviving. So start training for that if you want to prepare for a zombie apocalypse. Create a brotherhood of good friends, men and women, that that you would want to live with them in a post-apocalyptic bunker. These are the people, if the world goes crazy, I want to build an organic farm with somewhere up in the mountains where we can protect ourselves and provide ourselves with life. That's a community. Teach yourself how to fight so you can fight the zombies. Teach yourself how to hike, be in the outdoors, find food and weapon, agriculture. That's definitely that. And then you can get the rest of the stuff, slingshot, crossbow, guns, whatever you want to get. But that'll be my tips, My kid is learning in a forest kindergarten. Forest kindergarten, he's basically in the forest when it snows, when it rains, in the sun, in the heat, outside. He goes to the kindergarten with a backpack from the age of 3. In the snow, outside. When it rains, he just finds a leaf to hide under, becoming a Viet Cong kind of, survival skills. And one of the reasons for that is because I want him to connect to nature. I want him, in this world that we live in, we're not connected enough to nature. And, we grew up connected to nature, some of the older people here, because it was just default. There was nothing better to do. But the generation now to come, if they don't get connected to nature, it's going to lose so much. And the second thing, if ever the apocalypse will come of AIs or zombies, my kid would lead humanity into a shelter, build a radio beacon, and call for the last surviving people of humanity where to find, because he already knows how to find food in the wood. He already knows how to, which animals you should be afraid of, and not. He want to hunt animals. I'm not going to let him right now. He's only 4. Well, he turned 5. But yes, train yourself to survive a zombie. I can't believe Agam got me to talk about zombies. Forest school. I'm in the forest of the Rockies. Yes, forest school is the best. It's honestly the best. One of the best things that happened in my life for my kid. I feel like it makes them strong. It makes them wild. It makes them calm. Surprising. It's like strong and calm together. It makes them, they learn so much. My kid can literally find which leaves and trees and mushrooms you can eat in the forest. I don't know. He knows. And it's just, it's healthy. They don't have a single computer screen. They don't have a phone. They're just being kids with sticks and rocks. I see you one time in Eilat and another time in Germany. How do you do that? You're a jumper. Who knows? Who knows, man? Can't reveal my tricks. But yes, my family lives in Eilat and I try to go visit them as much as I can. Thanks so much for fighting for the Israel in the IDF and now in the war. Walls came from this Tal's channel and I've subscribed to you now. Yes, thanks, Chrome. I appreciate that. When the war started, I almost got back to Israel to fight with my unit. But they told me, don't come back. They told me we already got in one of the kibbutzim and they were already fighting 4 guys against, I think, 40 Hamas people. And they saved the whole kibbutz, 4 guys. They held the line and saved them until an Apache pilot managed to come and finish the job. And they told me, if you come right now, you won't be able to join us. We're in the middle of the fighting. And I sat there so frustrated as someone who gave, so many years defending this country. And I said, what can I do? And I said, you know what? I know how anti-Semitism is going to be. And I grabbed my phone and my first video just sucks. Literally, it's like very bad lighting. I'm super tired. I didn't sleep all night. I was watching the videos from what happened in October 7. But I made a video and then I made another one. And I realized right now I can contribute more by doing these videos than actually having a gun in my hand, which I think is super important what every soldier is doing. But I think also there's a battlefield called social media, and that's the front line right now that we're trying to educate people. Does he also navigate by use of stars? He's learning the stars. He doesn't do it yet. There's not too many stars, visible here where I live in Germany. But when I was in the desert, I taught him. But he's a great navigator. He is really good. Every time we go to the forest, his kindergarten is a different place in the woods. So he needs to navigate and find it. To your question, Tara, I would like to hear more about your kindergarten as well. I love the whole concept of forest kindergarten. To like the stream. Thanks, Emmanuel. I gotta go. I hope I asked enough questions. Yes, finally, Agam is leaving. Finally, no more questions about zombies. Well, I think I'm gonna end up the conversation now, guys, as well. This has been 83 minutes. I'm super impressed. First live that I did. Thank you so much. If you have one last question, you can send it now. If not, I just want to say thank you for everybody and for helping me bring this channel up. And I'll appreciate the help with sharing and subscribing and help me to monetize my channel so I can keep doing what I'm doing without the worry to go and find another job. So that's very appreciated. Hey, Mansur, how was your experience with the third narrative, Amira and Ibrahim? Lucy, you brought the spicy question till the end. Okay, I'll finish with that. It was very hard for me in the beginning to wrap my head because I feel like they're playing on both weddings and they're not taking a side, and you can't, because it's very clear the difference between the sides here. But then I said, and I felt like, there's so many things I didn't agree with, and I said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna, I'm pretty good at debating, and I can talk fast. And I said, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna smash it. But then I said, no, Mansur, there's so many radicals in the Palestine side, pro-Palestine side, that finally there's people that are trying to breach between the sides. And even if you don't agree with every word they're saying, you should show them respect. you should show them the support, and sometimes choose to agree and not we agree to disagree. So I went there with a much more peaceful approach, and I'm glad I did, because they're both, you know, very interesting people, and I think they're torn between, you know, both sides. If you ask me, they're not criticizing enough towards Palestine. They're throwing gay people out of rooftops. They're executing people for being spies. They're calling for the eradication of Israel. They're justifying October 7. There's a lot of bad stuff that are happening there that, you know, should be criticized much more from the inside community. But I felt in that conversation with these two that what they're doing is, if more people would be like them, we will have peace with the Palestinians, because I do feel that they represent the more sane voice in that community. So I do support what they're doing, and I stand a lot behind, you know, that what they're pushing for is to bring this dialogue. They said, even, we don't agree with you, Mansur, about everything, but at least we're sitting and talking. How many Palestinians or pro-Palestine people you find that you can talk? Look at the Columbia University guys. You can't talk to any of them. They're completely out of it. So with Amira and Ibrahim, I went there with a decision that I want to come open-minded, and I was so happy about it. They were so welcoming. And till now, there's a lot of things we don't agree about. But I know that if we'll meet in the street, we'll have coffee, we'll give each other a hug, and we'll agree to disagree. Yes, they have a podcast called Unapologetic. I highly recommend. If anyone haven't heard it, you know, go see it. It gives you another narrative that you might not actually see. And they do say things that a lot of the Palestinians are living in Israel, you know, the Israeli that are torn between Israel identity and Palestinian identity, that's how they feel, regardless if you agree or not. Meet you there from them. Happy to have found you. Thank you, Lucy. Lucy AI or Al. That was a good question. All right, guys, I'm going to finish the call again now. Thank you so much. I'm going to try to do this once a week or twice a week. And I'll see you there. Man, I spoke for 86 minutes in my first live. Whew! I need to drink water. Yalla, bye guys. Love you, Litrot, Shalom. And how do I stop this? Yeah, there's 9 to 13 people in this chat, and they stayed until the end. That's impressive. Do I save this? Highlight save to your channel as a listed video. If I stop it right now, will it save it? Oh, I can start a poll even. Wow. All right, bye guys. If you save it, goes as a rebroadcast. Thanks, Chrome. How do I save it? That's a question. Shabbat Shalom. By the way, guys, go watch Eden in the Eurovision. I didn't even know that at Eurovision, but I made a video about it today. I really hope she wins. She's getting so much hate for just being a Jewish artist, which is insane. So I really hope she wins. It will show as a video in the channel. So I just stopped this right now, and it's gonna show as a video, right? I just click end, and it's gonna show as a video. All right, let's try.